Welcome to Hillview Cottage Music Studio. My name is Geoffrey Bell, and welcome to the Modern Composers Toolbox series. Today's session focuses on tools for hearing your choral and vocal music before they're performed by humans. I live and work in the area of southern Alberta known as Treaty 7, which is the traditional territory of the Blackfoot Confederacy, Siksika, Kainai, and Piikani First Nations, Stoney Nakoda, Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Goodstoney First Nations, and the Tsuut'ina First Nations, as well as the Métis Nation of Alberta. They're my neighbors. Bonjour à mes collègues francophones, je parle un peu de français, mais mon vocabulaire est limité. Merci d'avoir participé aujourd'hui. And as a disclaimer, I'd just like to say that I don't work for any of the software companies that I'm going to be talking about in this presentation. So my comments are based on my own discoveries and learning as a user over many years. I know that our participants today come from a variety of backgrounds and write music in a range of styles. So everyone will know probably some of the content that I present today, but it's my hope that you'll come away with 3 new things to think about or to try for yourself. And it's worth noting that computer hardware and software are evolving constantly. So be prepared to start with what your current computer can handle and explore new possibilities as they come along. Oh, 2 people entered the waiting room. So I guess I better do something about that. Admit and admit. Sorry, David and Mark. I welcome. I've just I'm just figuring out how to admit people, so uh, on to the next slide. So you might wonder, why would you use these new tools? How might they help you? What equipment you need? What sort of music recording software you might need? What about plugins, AUs, and VSTs? The main topic today are the 3 things with the yellow stars: Cantamus, Synthesizer V Studio with Dreamtonics voices, and Cantai, which is a brand new product still in beta testing. It hasn't been officially released yet, so you're really on the cutting edge, the bleeding edge of what this brand new software can do. We'll talk a little bit about mixing if there's time, quick summary, and then I'll do hopefully a quick preview of the next webinar 2 weeks from now on June 21st, which focuses on digitized instrument sounds as opposed to choral and vocal sounds. So, how might these new tools help you? If you're writing traditional compositions, the bonus is to be able to hear fairly realistic versions of your work as you're composing and editing. And of course, if you're creating demonstration tracks or guide audio tracks, the ability to create demo recordings for performers and publishers before a piece has been performed, and to create guide tracks to help singers learn their parts. And of course, to post demos on social media until a real recording is available. All right, so here you have a picture of my studio. This is where I'm talking to you from right now, and a few samples of my music. Here's me talking to you. Can you see that? All right, end of experiment. But you can see that all I've got is it's a synthesizer, but it's a MIDI keyboard and a laptop. And really, those are the only tools that you need. So, basics, simple MIDI keyboard. I highly recommend getting a touch sensitive one that responds like a real piano. If it's just got spring-loaded key switches that are on and off, you're not going to have any sort of control over the sounds that you're making, and a way to connect the keyboard to your computer. I'm blasting through this because I want to get to the good stuff, the content that really matters. A DAW is just a digital audio workstation, which is a fancy way of saying software on your computer, and that allows you to record and edit music. So what we're going to do with our three pieces of software is create wave files, audio files, which we then load into our DAW, and that's where you can do interesting things with them to enhance them. I'm using GarageBand because it comes free on every Mac, and I'm using a Mac, and I've been using it for years and have never felt the need to upgrade. But it's worth knowing that when you get a Mac, the GarageBand is not fully featured. It gives you the bare bones at first, and you can upgrade. It's a very inexpensive upgrade to add a lot more instruments and more capabilities. If you're working in the Windows world, there's a program called Reaper that's about $60 US, so roughly 100 Canadian, and it will do much the same thing. So if you're coming in and not wanting to spend thousands of dollars to experiment, these are good places to start. Plugins, VSTs, audio units are all things that work within your DAW, whether you're using GarageBand or something else. And you can see a little clip here from inside uh, GarageBand that just shows you a few plugins. If they're blue, they're turned on, and if they're gray, they're not turned on. And it gives you an idea of some of the capabilities. Space Designer is one of my favorites because it takes a plain, ordinary recording and then you can project it into different rooms, different halls, and make it sound like your performance is in that space. It's quite an amazing little thing. Okay, general MIDI voices. Now this is interesting because um, I am, whoops, have to back up. The little buttons that I have for, there we go. I'm sorry, I've had to put your pictures away so that I can reach the audio buttons. Back in 1991, the new standard that came out was MIDI voices. So here's a sample of a MIDI voice from playing Fanfare for the New Year. Here we go. So, it gives us a kind of an idea, but you really don't know what the lyrics are. You don't know what they sound like. Here's the same piece again. This time it's for unaccompanied SATB choir, but it's just a new arrangement of the same piece. But it's using the synthesizer VU Pro with Dreamtonic's voices.
Ding dong, ding dong, ding a dong, let us sing in the new year. Let us sing in the new century. Let us sing in the new year. Ding dong, ding dong, ding a dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding a dong, let us.
Ah, what a difference. So when I send pieces of music off to publishers and choirs asking them to be interested, even a year and a half ago, they were getting so-called recordings using generic MIDI voices. And now there's no turning back for me. It's got to have the lyrics. All right, Contact is a program that we will talk about in 2 weeks for the uh, version about instruments. It does have some choir and vocal sounds, but it doesn't allow you to have them sing your lyrics. It's more ooh and ah type sounds, so we won't worry about that right now. Cantamus is the first piece of software that I really wanted to present to you. And I'm just going to read the screen because it's got the important things you need to know. Pluses, it reads and sings lyrics in English, Spanish, Catalan, German, and Latin. I've asked them for French, and they've said not anytime soon. But more and more people are asking for French, so hopefully that comes. It's very affordable, €5 a month, which ends up being about $7.50 Canadian. It's a website, and so you load your score into the website, uh, and it comes back to you in about 20 minutes, singing your score. It's easy to make adjustments to the score, which you will have to do, and resubmit without any penalty. It has a built-in mixer, so you can save individual voices or you can save the whole ensemble, or both. And the voices sound reasonably natural. They sing expressively, but you can't adjust individual voice qualities. Minuses, it doesn't process other languages yet. I know that they are constantly working on Cantomus, so hopefully that is coming. Pronunciations often need adjustment. You'll probably have to spell some words phonetically and resubmit your score. And it's one voice per part. And we'll talk more when we get to mixing about what to do about that. Basically, you're going to do 3 or 4 different takes, have resubmit, and each time you get a slightly different version of it because of the human factor that they put in. And one thing that I think is a minus is that it assumes that you have the MuseScore program on your computer. Now, MuseScore is a free music editing software, so it's not a problem, but you use that to find any things that Cantamus won't be able to handle. And right now, Cantamus can't handle repeat signs. So by going into MuseScore, you can use an unroll feature to stretch your piece out to full length. So if you were going to add a brand new piece, you would click Add Piece. And if you were going into pieces that you're already working on, you would go to My Repertoire. So here's an audio sample from The Curious Crow. Unfortunately, this song was written for children's choir, and Cantamus doesn't have a children's choir. So it sounds a little bit funny having an adult choir singing a piece about the little crow hopping towards the little child who has lunch on their lap, and then how the crow gets the lunch.
A piggy black cat side of my lunch, so I asked little bird, are you hungry? She hopped a little closer. I had my hand out. She hopped a little closer. We both were filled with doubt. I could almost touch her. Then she jumped, and my lunch was in the puddle. And then in the
Now, you will discover that none of the 3 pieces of software are perfect. They all have their own quirks. And one of the things that I think is that the lyrics don't always come out clearly. If you've got the sheet music in front of you, that's great. You can figure out what they're singing, but it's not always perfectly crisp and clear. Here's Cantamus doing a piece written for adults, SATB, a sample from Shaping the Invisible. No, one of the things I really like about Cantamus is the singing is very expressive, and uh, that's important when I'm sending a demo recording off to a publisher or a choir. Here is an excerpt from the Lake Isle of Innisfree, and this is a solo voice, again from Cantamus.
I will arise and go now and colder in the spring, and a small cabin built there of clay and wattles made. 19 rows will I have there, a heart for the honeybee, and live alone in the beloved glade.
So you can hear a bit of an electronic twinge to the voice for sure, but very expressive singing. All right, so when you're done a score and you're ready to load it into Cantamus, uh, first load it into MuseScore just to find any incompatible things. Use the unroll feature to unroll repeat signs. One plus for Cantamus is that it can handle some divises, and when I'm writing choral music, I'm often using a few divises here and there. Other programs have problem with that. Anyway, once you've deleted any extraneous items, at that point you log into the Cantamus app and click Add Piece. So let's try a live demonstration of that. We'll see if this works. So there we go. Can you see the Cantamus screen right now? Okay, hopefully so. Um, and we're going to, if we click Add a New Piece, this is the spot right here where you drop it. Underneath are the key bits of information about preparing your score so that it's going to work for you. So I'm going to drop a score in there that I know isn't going to work quite the way you would hope at first. Just have to find it. Found it. So it comes up with warnings if it spots anything wrong. So it says this score contains Divisi. We only support Divisi in particular way. Please check the score preparation guidelines. And then you would go ahead and set your language. I don't use folders. The flute is instrument, soprano, alto, tenor, and bass have already been pre-assigned, and piano instrumental. So I would click Add Piece, and it will start cranking away. And within a few seconds, we'll switch to the screen. Here we go, My Repertoire, and it shows that it's working right now, or it's in the queue, Come With Me on Horses. When that's done, it will appear down here in the list of pieces that I've been working on. We're going to have a quick look at Moonset. This is one that's already been done. And to open it up, just click Open. And watch down here. And as soon as it's not grayed out anymore, as soon as you've got a play button, then you're all set to go. So you can hear the first take that it's created for you.
I feels the night wind through the dreamy field.
Okay, that's working pretty well for me. You'll notice that there is a mixer right here. And if you're happy with, if you play all the way through the piece and you're happy with the way it sounds, you would go to the mixer to get ready to download. This is for 8 voices unaccompanied. So each part has a volume control and a pan control left to right. So if you're wanting to record all the voices all together, just the way they are, you just scroll down to the bottom and click Download Mixdown. If you're a choral director and the tenors are having a real problem with measure 23 to 25, they just can't seem to get it, what you can do is cut everybody else's volume down to half, except for the tenors, and create a guide track for them so that they can practice and sing along in context with the other voices, but be able to hear their part a little bit louder. So quite a handy tool. All right, on to Synthesizer V Studio with Dream Tonics. I thought perhaps it might be a Roman numeral 5, but having visited their website and watched their tutorials, no, it's a V. So this is software that you would pay for and download and install on your computer, and it's a customized DAW designed to work with their custom voices called Dream Tonic Voices. You get a couple of basic voices included, but if you're going to write music for SATB, you'll need to buy a couple more voices. Whatever music you create, you save as a MIDI file, import it, and then copy and paste the lyrics in or type them in syllable by syllable. It is time consuming. And it's worth noting that the voices are designed with pop and jazz styles in mind. So their default is to scoop into notes and drop off at the end of notes, which is great for jazz and choral styles. But if you're going to be using it for classical choral music, then you need to go through and edit note by note, basically. It does a remarkable job of making it sound like you've got real singers. You can customize each voice and tailor it to your needs and save those customizations. And of course, you can hear your work at any time, so you can make adjustments as you go. When you're all done editing, you export it as a WAV file and bring that into your DAW. And just like with Cantamus, where you only have one singer per voice, this is the same kind of idea. So again, you would do 3 or 4 takes. Rendering is the official term. So you would render the piece 3 or 4 times, and each time it adds a human factor. So each performance comes out slightly differently, and when you combine them all in your DAW, it sounds like you've got a real choir. So here's an excerpt from the Post-Christmas Blues.
No, you walk on the fire, do no careless say, the bills are piling higher, Christmas Day has come and gone. The turkey's been eaten, the relatives are gone. Santa's castle's coming down at the mall, and all the decorations have come down from the hall. I'm feeling low down, my spirit's kind of tired.
And here's a little sample from Trouble.
The second time I met him, he got me all alone. We spent some time together, then he called me on the phone. I should have listened to you and stayed there on my own, 'cause he can be trouble. that time I realized he'd really reeled me in. I fell hook, line, and sinker. I didn't know how to swim. He's walking down the street with me and making eyes at them. He can be trouble. He can be trouble.
Had a lot of fun writing those two. So we're going to try a live demo. Let's see what happens. First off, I have to go down to my software and can you see the Synthesizer V screen? I don't hear anybody saying no, so we'll hope for the best here. Okay, so like most programs, if you're starting a brand new file, you go to New, and if you're going to open something recent, there's an Open Recent. We're going to go to Come With Me on Horses. Now you've got all kinds of side panels that can open and close here. I'm going to close this little one right now because I don't need it at the moment. You've got your 4 voices. For soprano 1, I've assigned Natalie. For soprano 2, I've assigned Natalie. But I've done a customized version of her voice to sound slightly more toward the alto range, a little bit different from the first one. So I've got 2 Natalies. The alto is Mai, baritone is Hayden, and the bass is Asterion. Now, this program doesn't deal with the instrument sounds at all. So I've dragged in a MIDI file and it's stripped out just the voice parts. And so I'm teaching it how to sing the lyrics. And then when I'm done, I export that as a WAV file. And then when I put it into my DAW, I'm going to also add the instrument MIDI file back in so that they can play together. So the first 6 measures are blank. And this is sort of an overview panel at the top. Down here is where you actually get to work on individual parts. So right now I'm clicking soprano. And if I jump here down to measure 6, then I can see her part. And this is what it's going to sound like with just voices.
Come with me on horses, ride with me on horses, fly my love on horses, galloping over the hill. Morning mists are floating, crystal streams are sparkling as the day comes dawning, galloping over the hill, galloping over the hill,
Galloping over the hill.
Okay, I'll stop it there. And if you're listening closely, you probably heard some of those little scoops into notes and drop-offs at the end. I don't mind a little bit because it makes it sound a little more authentic, like a real choir might. Oh, there's my tellus again. It really wants me to do something. Come on, my tellus, go away. All right, we're going to jump back to the presentation. Ta-da. Okay. So when you're done adding in all of your lyrics, then you can also adjust voices. And there are so many different adjustments. You can adjust how intense or how soft or how breathy, or there's even a masculine to feminine slider. So you can, if you've got a countertenor part singing in the alto range and you want it to sound a little more masculine, you can do that. Once you're all done, you would export your work as a WAV file, and then we would take it to the DAW. So that was our little live demo. Cantai is our third piece of software. And as I said at the beginning, Cantai is so brand new, it hasn't even officially been released yet. It's in beta testing right now. I've been participating in the beta testing just to try to find out what its true capabilities are. Richard DaCosta is the creator, and he is regularly in contact with all of the people who are doing beta testing through a discussion group on Discord. And so we find out in advance what's coming. So today is June 7th, and at the moment, Cantai can only use MIDI files. But 3 days now, by the 10th, you'll be able to drop in music XML files as well, which gives you a better rendition of your music. So there will also be a VST to add into your DAW. So if it's something that interests you after hearing it, I'd say it's worth following along and just waiting to see. They have a few choirs and a few solo voices available right now, but more are coming out on an almost weekly basis. Here's a sample from Stone Garden, one of my 3 haiku, sung by a Cantai choir. Not bad. And it sounds like a real choir because they actually used a real choir to sample. And uh, that's why it sounds like a real choir. So here's the Cantai website. They are actively advertising for people to um, do a 30-second test. So where it says render free now, you can actually drop in one of your scores as a MIDI file. It'll only give you the first 30 seconds. And you'll discover very quickly that it's still under beta testing. So sometimes things work better than others. It can't handle DVC at all right now. So if your score has a lot of DVC in it, you may actually want to create a separate score just to drop in here where each voice has its own line. So we're going to find the button that I'm looking for. Listen more. And we're going to listen to one of their samples that they've created. And it's called Your Deepest Breath. And I won't play the whole thing, but you can hear some of it. Gives you an idea of what you can do with an orchestral sound, and you can thicken up the choir, make it sound like a larger choir, just by doing more than one take. All right, moving along, keeping an eye on the time. So since Cantai is brand new, you'll need modern software. Old MIDI files were not able to carry the lyrics with them. It was just notes. So Finale 27 couldn't do that. But MuseScore, the new version, when you save MIDI files, it can carry the lyrics with it. Dorico 5 can't do it, but Dorico 6 can. But as of June 10th, Richard tells us that you will be able to load music XML files directly into Cantai, so you don't have to worry about the MIDI file. There's the website for following along. All right, we've talked about these things. If you want to see Richard DaCosta himself giving a YouTube demo, there's a link. And by the way, all of the notes from this session, all of the slides, I have put on my website under software notes, I think. So you'll be able to get all these links. Okay, moving on to your mixing within your DAW. Now, for some people, this is going to be old hat, and I'm sorry, but for other people who have not played a lot with mixing, I think it's worth knowing a few of the basics. Multi-tracking is the idea of adding 3 or 4 recordings together to build a richer choir sound. And I've noted here that it doesn't work well to mix different choirs from different software, because every time they hit a retardando, they will interpret that differently. And if you put a pause in your music, they will interpret that differently. And then it's a real mess to put it back together again. So if you're going to use Cantai for the whole thing, or Cantamus or whatever. It also doesn't work to record something once and put it 3 times into your DAW, because there's nothing different about it. So it won't add any thickness, any richness to it. I recommend with choral music that you record the voices dry with no reverb or echo added in until the very end, because the hazard is that you'll add a little bit of this to that recording, a little bit of something else or a different level to the second recording, and it can get really muddy really quickly. So save it for the end. Adjust the individual tracks to your liking. Cut out sounds that bother you. At the end, once you've got it all the way you want it, create a master track. And we'll look at this in a minute. I'm keeping an eye on the time. Create a master track, and at that point you can add in your spatializer and your room designer and all of the reverb that you want. And if your music has very quiet passages in it, like true classical music can go from pianissimo to fortissimo, consider using a compressor to boost the very quietest passages. And you'll know this if you've tried to listen to classical music while driving in the car. And the fortissimos, you get the volume set just right, and then you can't hear the quiet bits at all. And that's because of the noise from the car masking. If you use a compressor, it will bring up the level of the pianissimos without you really noticing it. It'll bring it up more to a level where you can hear the whole thing. And best tip of all, live performers are always best. I'm using these tools for creating demos to send off to publishers, to send off to choirs before a piece has actually been performed by a choir. But I would always choose a performance by a real choir. So if you can add live performers into your digitized demos, it's a real bonus. If you sing bass or soprano or alto or whatever, get in there with your microphone. You can adjust your own volume, but it just adds a touch of realism. If you play an instrument that happens to be in your piece, do that part live, record that part yourself, and it really enriches the sound. So when you're mixing, there are challenges if you are combining MIDI files and WAV files or WAV files from different sources. So in your scores, if you can use exact tempo markings, that's a big help. And if you can stick with one source, one program that saves both the MIDI and the WAV files, that will also help you with tempo discrepancies. All right, so in summary, Cantamus reads scores with lyrics and gives you back a WAV file quickly, has traditional choir sounds with one singer per part. Singing is typically well phrased, and it allows you to tweak mispronounced lyrics. Each time you resubmit, you get a slightly different performance because of the built-in human factor, so you can combine more than one track. Synthesizer V Pro with Dreamtonic's voices offers a wide variety of individual voices for a price. Um, it's initially set up for pop and jazz style singing. It returns WAV files to you quickly. It has quite a number of languages, including Japanese, Cantonese, Mandarin, Spanish, I think Latin as well. Voices can be extensively customized, which is a nice feature, and you can save those. It allows you to tweak the lyrics and make new renderings, new takes as many times as you want. Something that I would mention is right now I'm using Synthesizer V Pro version 1. There is a version 2, which they just released within the last month and a half, and it's having some stability issues. So I would say if you're going to spend the big bucks and buy Synthesizer V Pro, maybe start with the first version until they get those ironed out. They are doing regular updates. Cantai, the brand new one, allows you to choose individual voices, and they have jazz, pop, and operatic styles, and they also have traditional choir sounds. And again, you can do more than one rendering and build the size of your choir. Returns WAV files to you quickly. They're adding more voices and choirs and languages. Pretty much every week there's something new. And again, it has the human factor. Room to grow for all three programs? Yes, indeed. No children's choirs yet, no French yet. Good news, all three pieces of software are fairly new and they're under constant development. And the bottom line for me is real singers and real instruments are your first choice, but boy, this software is useful in creating demos. I'm going to give you, oh, will it help you sell your music? Too early to tell. I can tell you that if you talk to Larry Nickel at Cypress, he'll say, don't bother sending me a digitized choir, send me a recording of a real choir. And I have done this and sent him the music, and he said, yeah, send it to me again when you have a real recording. But other publishers such as Alliance and Walton, other publishers in the States, are quite happy to accept the old MIDI ooh and ah choirs. So to me, it's a real bonus if you can send them something that actually sings the lyrics. And of course, composition competitions are funny because mostly they're asking for new music that's never been performed, but they'd like a recording, please. So rather than sending the MIDI ooh and ah, I would send them something with actual singing. So there are lots of learning resources out there, the software manufacturers' websites. YouTube has lots of how-to videos. And there are some great social media discussion groups for each piece of software. So if you look on Facebook or if you look on Discord or one of your other favorite discussion sites, you can find lots of like-minded people who are running into the same issues and having the same kinds of questions that you have. Get a lot of information that way. And Hal Leonard has just started a new website called Groove 3, which is full of educational resources. And I watched their first Synthesizer V demo, which was really good. And I actually learned a couple of things just from the first video. I'm sharing my own notes about software. If you go to dgeoffreybell.com, there's a section for software notes. So I'm going to give you a quick peek at next week's, the presentation 2 weeks from now, Modern Composers Toolbox Series, version 2, Instrumental Music Tools. And here's a little sample from something that I'll be presenting there. Here's an invitation to connect if you're interested in future webinars, seminars, commissioning a piece of music, individual lessons, joining the Hillview Cottage music mailing list. You can just contact me through the website, or here's my email, and talk about whatever you want to talk about. Thank you to everyone who is here today. Merci. And big thanks to Jana and Carlos at the Prairie Region branch of the Canadian Music Centre for hosting this series.
It seems that these are, I have not tried any of these, and they all seem to be very labor intensive. And I'm wondering, imagine that I have a 3.5 minute SATB choral piece unaccompanied. How much time would you expect to take to convert it from, say, Dorico, using these various methods into something that you'd be happy to put on your website as a demo?
Wow, that's a great question. Um, with the first one, Cantamus, it's really pretty much drag and drop. As long as your score is clean and doesn't have any surprises. I load it into MuseScore, play it once, and often it works just fine. And then from there, I drop it straight into Cantamus, and 20 minutes later, I have a reasonable recording. Um, I I like to load it into a DAW afterwards and do extra touches like the adding a bit of reverb and using the spatializer and all that kind of thing. But really, the recording from Cantamus, I think, is quite usable. And then it's up to you just how much you want to tweak that. The Dreamtonics voices in Synthesizer V, yeah, it's labor intensive for sure. But for the particular jazz styles that I wanted for the two pieces that I played today, it's the ideal tool. It just, you're going to put a lot of time into it. And for Cantai, the third one, in theory, it's drag it and drop it. And again, within, oh, how long did I have to wait for the last one? Maybe 5 minutes. You can watch the progress on the screen with Cantai. and you get quite a decent recording. So I'd say try Cantai, try Cantamus, and just see how it works for you.
David Rain says, "Hi, sorry for no video. No problem. Great overview, Jeffrey. Thanks. My question, what type of publisher or choral director would respond well to this type of demo as opposed to just looking at a score or a MIDI recording, etc.? In other words, what need is being filled by doing this?"
Holy cow. I'm still very much not sure how to answer that. As I mentioned, Larry at Cypress is not interested in hearing digitized choirs. I mean, he's interested on an intellectual level, but don't send it and expect him to put it on his website. I've had some reaction from choral directors, but it's very early in the game for me. I've only been doing this for perhaps a year and learning as I go. So I had a fantastic reaction for Trouble from a choir in Quebec who contacted me right away and said, "Hey, we'd really like to do this, but we'd like to do it in French. And could we convince you to do a French language version?" So they reacted well to that particular recording. On the other hand, I've sent it off to 99 other choral directors who haven't replied at all. So we'll see.
For myself as a conductor, I always like more detail is always better for me personally.
That's worth
But
hearing.
absolutely, absolutely, and leaving less to the imagination and more that's actually realized in real time. So I would welcome one of these in my
Okay.
inbox
Okay.
for what that's worth.
Keep an eye on your inbox, Yana.
All right, yeah, yeah.
I just think as a music educator, conductor, and composer, that these are tools that are really coming on fast. Um, I suspect that we're dealing with a younger sort of experience. Like, so I'm thinking that younger composers and younger music educators, et cetera, are going to probably accept this a little faster than maybe people with gray hair,
Yes.
but
Or no
not
hair.
necessarily because I am finding that some of these are real tools. For instance, I use them for choir now to make practice files for my choir members, and they're
Sure.
non-auditions, so
Yeah.
um, to listen to a voice sing a part with the words placed correctly, etc., is a real, boon for them.
Oh, yeah.
And like Cantamus is not so labor intensive, but I do struggle with the tenor part in Cantamus. Sometimes it doesn't like to whip out the tenor part, but that could be fixed at any time. But with my composition, sometimes I find Cantamus, I'm not sure about the other ones that don't really get into the more modern techniques, clusters and aleatoric stuff. But
True.
you can actually do segments and phrases from Cantamus. So what I do sometimes is input a phrase, and then I take it to my Audacity, which
Yeah.
is also, it's free,
Yeah.
and mix it into a cluster. And I
Ah.
can also then hear what's happening. So you can use it as a tool. It actually doesn't do that yet.
Yep.
It doesn't observe a cluster,
Right.
but you can create that yourself.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
I
Yeah.
just and speaking to Larry, he just took a piece of mine. It's been published, but I don't have the live demo yet.
Mhm.
So he plunked up an ooh-ah demo, which is horrible.
Hmm.
I'm not even going to say which piece it is.
No,
Uh,
I've done that with Larry too. It's funny. He'll
uh,
take the ooh-ah
so
choir, but not
I,
the
I, I,
digitized.
I'm questioning what is the difference between that ooh-ah demo that we're so used to from our composing from, actually adding the words. Like I could have submitted a Cantamus
Mhm.
uh, demo. I didn't. I'm still waiting for that live premiere recording to come, but
Yep.
it's right now he just plunked up that ooh-ah. So I don't know.
You'll have to
I
ask
am
Larry
not
that question.
exactly sure if that argument is going to be there for much longer, but
Yeah.
yeah.
No, we'll have to ask Larry that
Anyway,
question.
I use it in three capacities, also music education.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. Are there any other questions?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. Well, I'm Jim from West Virginia, as a matter of fact. So,
Hey, welcome, Jim.
yes, thank you. Um, would you be able to speak anything to any software that allows you to sing or play the input of your music, and whether or not these would possibly translate? I don't know if that becomes a MIDI file or what that is, but then translating your own voice or maybe a couple of singers into the notation or to the version that we're talking about for audio.
That's a great question, and I don't have any experience with that, but I know that Synthesizer V with Dreamtonics voices have to give the whole title there. Um, that company in Tokyo that makes that software has another piece of software where you can sing into a microphone and you can choose the voice of your favorite singer, your favorite pop star, and your voice comes out
Okay.
being that pop star singing, but I don't know if it notates it for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's not a question that I can answer. Sorry, Jim.
Well, this will be recorded and put on the CMC Prairie website on a new page that we're developing called Composer Resources, and we'll put the links to those pages that Geoffrey mentioned, so you have a full rundown to refer to this info. If you don't know me, my name is Yana Saylor. I got too excited at the beginning to actually introduce myself. I am the director of the Canadian Music Centre Prairie region that is presenting this. So thank you so much for being here for this session. As Geoffrey mentioned, in 2 weeks we'll have another session that's more specific to instrumental pieces and the latest technology for that. But we really appreciate you being here and being part of the CMC composition community and contributing your suggestions and questions. That really makes it so much richer. And thanks so much for being here. And hopefully we'll see you at the next session. All that info is on our calendar on the CMC Prairie page if you want to register for the next session. And we're going to try to roll these out on a monthly basis so that we can come together to learn and share our knowledge as a composition community. So just watch for more sessions coming up. Thank you again,
Thank you.
Geoffrey. What a wonderful presentation and for giving up Parade Day for us. We really appreciate it.
All right. We'll see you next time.
Thanks so
Bye bye.
much, everyone.
Thanks very much, Geoffrey.